Here at Marsh Hill Primary School in Birmingham, Sharon Wells has been bursar for 6 months. Like all bursars and business managers, Sharon is keen to find ways of saving money.
When I started at Marsh Hill, we seem to have a lot of paper-based systems in terms of ordering stationery and resources. We spend approximately £10,000 a year on paper, and also we want to limit the amount of cash that comes into school as well, because that takes a lot of our time in terms of counting the money and depositing the money and having the money on site.
Claire Dix is a procurement expert for the DCSF. She's taking Sharon to see how another school uses e-office, Gonville Primary School in South East London. It's well ahead of the field in terms of electronic office systems, and by the end of her visit, Sharon will find out just how much these systems could save her.
Most people are very familiar with the use of electronic systems in their home, so you're purchasing things online, use of the internet, etc. So that tendency is moving across to the office and particularly around schools. So we see a lot more electronic purchasing online, any admin function moving across to e-systems, and there's massive savings to be made in those areas.
Claire and Sharon first meet Cheryl Gilbert. She's the administrator at Gonville Primary.
The introduction of e-office has made my life easier. Got more time to take on more tasks. We've recently begun ordering stationery through the Open system, the online ordering system. So I'd go into Open, do a catalogue search, select the type of books that I wanted. For example, I wanted A4 lined workbooks. Then you can compare prices. At the end, you check out the shopping list and it comes up with a screen to say the requisition has been submitted.
You don't have the facility to pay them online, you don't have a credit card facility?
No,
Right.
That's something that we are looking into, and hopefully within the next few weeks, months, we are looking into getting a procurement card.
It's referred to as the GPC card, Government Procurement Card. That's another means of making payments and actually does away with petty cash in most schools. I'd also recommend a new online e-learning tool which is called Byways, and it's aimed at these procurement staff so that they understand the processes to go through to ensure that they're achieving value for money. And it saves you having to leave the school to actually do that element of training, because you can do it from the school, when you've got some time online.
Cheryl also manages the school's cashless catering system, which allows parents to pay for dinners either online or with a PayPoint card.
It means that the parents aren't bringing in cash or cheques for their children's dinner money, and it also means that we don't have to do the tallying up of figures.
And what does it involve you in, administration-wise?
Every week we check to make sure that the children's accounts are up to date. And if they're not up to date, if a child's account is in arrears, then we have the facility of either sending them a text message or they get a written report.
There's quite a big time saving as well.
A great time-saving difference, yes.
And, as an added advantage, parents get to see what their children ate for dinner through the week.
Before this system happened, I didn't really know what my daughter had. She was younger then, so she didn't really used to remember what she had. For example, last week, on the 17th, she had fish fingers, chunky chips, fresh fruit salad, baked beans and crunchy cookie.
Croydon Local Authority has purchased this system on behalf of all its schools. But if a school wants to introduce this sort of system itself, the cost is currently £200 per annum, plus £1 per pupil, with a small charge per online transaction. Although Cheryl's school doesn't use the facility yet, the same system can be used to pay for school trips.
You can see the saving already just purely on dinner money, so you both know how time consuming it is to get consent forms for going away on school trips, etc., plus bringing in the money, and this system or a system of this nature will work in exactly the same way.
So parents would be able to consent online?
Yeah. Electronic consent is as legally binding as a signature. So what do you think of it so far?
Really interesting. I'm sure the systems would be really useful at our school.
Well, let's go and meet the head now.
OK.
Head teacher Mark Ducker has driven the move towards implementation of the online systems in the office and throughout the school.
Hi, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
In particular, he's driven the introduction of the school's MLE, Managed Learning Environment.
So if you imagine the managed learning environment as our virtual building, when you go in, when you log in, the first thing you see is like your entrance hall. And in your entrance hall, you've got the messages that pertain to you. So you can see here we've got a message that's been sent from the staff room and some children's messages from their rooms. In the same way that you'd have a staff room in your physical building, we've created a staff room on our managed learning environment. And the staff room really contains much of the key information you would want all your staff to have access to. For example, we've got the school improvement plan. So if I click on there, the school improvement plan will be launched.
A school calendar and a memo programme called Stickies allows everyone to interact without paper memos flying around.
Everybody who has a leading role within the school, in whatever capacity, is required to develop their area on the managed learning environment.
One room that's been a great success is the Site Manager's Room, created with succession planning in mind.
My room on the MLE consists of everything that a person would need to come in and take over from me. All the documents, health and safety documents, risk assessments, where I get suppliers, basically everything that anyone would need to know. Before the arrival of the MLE, I had many, many files stacked up in my office, but now it's quite free.
The governors too have their own room on the MLE.
I've been a governor for 13 years, so I can see the difference. But when I was first the governor, I used to get loads of papers through to read, and all this, that and the other. And it piles up. Now with the MLE, it's all on there for me. When we visit the school, we will put notes of what we've done, so that, or if you see something interesting when you're in one of the rooms, you can say, oh, take a look at this, look what the children have done, which is nice, because that all helps with our monitoring.
In our recent Ofsted inspection, governance was judged outstanding, partly because the quality of the information that's provided for the governing body was considered to be extremely good.
So your governors, I presume you have to sort of provide them with all this essential paperwork, which seems quite weighty.
We spend time photocopying all the information, then we've got to get it out to them, so there's a cost implication with that. All in all, it's time consuming and costly for everybody.
Which one is the least used material in the Great Wall of China?
Another paperless innovation at Gonville Primary is that all homework is set, completed and marked online. Teacher Katie Harborne has got her own Year 6 virtual classroom.
Each class has their own different zones, and within those zones they have what we call an Our Views page, which will be where the forums were. They can send me general messages if they've got queries on homework and that kind of thing. Tonight's homework is knowing about the story of the Hall of the Mountain King from Peer Gynt, because we've been studying Norway. And I've set the homework, so they go to a hand-in folder, which is a specific folder, so they can open up that document, they can answer whatever the questions are, then they can upload it to here. And through that I can then mark it and give it a grade.
Katie can also assess and monitor her class online.
Using the classroom monitor means that every teacher, when they get a new class, can see where the difficulties are with their class. Everybody agreed?
If homework is done online, do all pupils have access to the internet from home?
We did a survey before we rolled it out to pupils. It was running about 85% of pupils' families do have home access to the internet. So during playtimes, lunchtimes, children who don't have access have additional access. We open the suite in the morning, is available after school. We even opened it on Sunday mornings to be available to children, just to give them the opportunities to access it. Since we've embarked on this journey, it's now gone up to about 90%.
Right.
So I think parents are beginning to understand that if they're able to, they will try and get internet home access.
So what's the cost of the MLE?
Our local authority, at the time that we signed up to it, had the offer of funding the first year.
And then what will happen after your first year?
After the first year, it's then for you to pay. But it's a relatively small amount if you offset what you save. So we pay about £2,500 per year. But the savings that are gained from the managed learning environment are many, many times that.
There are more potential savings in moving recruitment online. Although Gonville Primary doesn't use e-recruitment yet, it's simple to do.
The DCSF have introduced the Schools Recruitment Service, which is an online system where the teacher can actually put their own CV online, but at the same time the school can actually put their advert online as well. So that whole process is managed in the same place.
That sounds as if that would be something that we would definitely be interested in because of the time that we have to spend in terms of collating information to be sent out to potential applicants.
With all the online systems in place at Gonville Primary, what has the school saved in terms of time and money?
It is hard to quantify, but I would certainly say it was in the tens of thousands of pounds that we've saved through all the e-systems that we use to improve efficiency.
That's an amazing figure.
And that money saved has been put to good use.
One of the things we've been able to fund has been the development of our early years centre. So this was a junior class, so we knocked out the end wall and extended outwards, and we've created a really spacious reception class and a similar sized one next door.
So knowing what eOffice has done for Gonville School, what could it do for Marsh Hill Primary? Claire's been working out the figures.
Starting from the top, on ordering on the e-procurement system, figures show that you could save around 5%. On a budget of your school size, we're looking at around a spend of about 240,000. Now 5%, if it all went through, that would be about 12,000.
Right, okay.
But if we went for a conservative estimate, just looked at say half, that's a figure of say £6,000.
Next, cashless catering.
Croydon Authority are saying that there's an efficiency of about £5,000 per school by utilising this cashless catering system.
So that's another £5,000 saved.
And then when we looked at most of the systems across the school, the main saving that we found was on paper because it's moving away from being a paper office and being a paperless office. Your figures show that you're spending about £10,000 on paper in a year, whereas this school is spending around 1 and 2. So there's a massive difference in just that already. So there's about an £8,000 saving possibly. And then e-recruitment, we talked about that too. That could save anything between, depending on the size of your school, between £2,000 and £10,000. So let's go for a conservative estimate and say a smaller school is £2,000. That's on your advertising cost. So that's a grand total of £21,000 per year.
That would be amazing. That would be absolutely amazing. I think, yeah, this is something that would be really, really useful for our school, and we're definitely interested in taking it forward.
But at the end of the day, implementing e-office systems is not just about saving money.
I think it's the increased productivity as well within the school that teachers and staff are able to direct their focus on those things that really matter and make a difference to children's learning. And as a result, the standards within the school have risen.